Hey guys, the new year is here, and Josh and I are talking about our biggest wins and losses of the year, our goals and resolutions for 2026, and so much more. So stick around.
Welcome to the Crap Vegas podcast.
Vegas, here we come.
Vegas!
Here are your hosts, Chris and Josh.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. It's episode number 97 of the Crap Vegas podcast. I am Chris. He is Josh. What's going on out there?
Well, I think we should start with a happy new year to everybody. 2026.
Old Lang Syne's playing in the background right now.
Right.
I think that's a typical Josh thing this time of year.
It's the only thing I can play on the piano, you know. In fact,
Oh.
when we had the piano, remember, you were
You
playing the
should've played
piano
for me.
all... I did. I can play Old Lang Syne with one finger.
That's what you were playing?
Yeah, that's what I was playing.
Oh, as you were hunting and pecking up the keyboard there.
Because
Yeah,
my
I
mom's
didn't recognize.
birthday
Mhm.
is January 1st. And so
Oh,
as a kid...
Well, you can never forget it.
Right. As a kid, I wanted to learn, a birthday special song for her. So I learned Old Lang Syne with one finger on the
You
piano.
didn't learn Happy Birthday. You learned Old
No,
Lang
I learned
Syne.
Old Lang Syne. Well, that's more
Okay,
appropriate.
perfect. Okay,
What I was going
that
to
makes
ask you, Chris, you're a skier.
I
So
am.
we have a dilemma.
Not as much as
and-
you, though.
No, that's true. Yeah. Well, we have bigger mountains than you do.
I have hills. Our hill did just open yesterday. That was
Oh,
really
there you go.
exciting. Yeah.
So we've talked about Leavenworth before. There's
We
a
have.
ski resort fairly close to Leavenworth that
Okay.
was impacted by our flooding and atmospheric river. So
Okay.
the highway that runs to the ski resort is now blocked both directions. So you can't get there
Ooh.
from the Leavenworth side, which is the east side, or from the west side, which is how we would normally come from the Seattle area.
Okay.
They've just now opened up kind of basically a way that would usually take but kind of 2 hours, now takes 4 hours. So they just
Ooh.
opened this up like half a week ago or so. Anyway, long story short, people with season passes are pissed because they bought
I'm
season
sure.
passes in advance. And this ski resort is owned by Vail Resort. So it's the big,
Oh, it's
and
on an
they
Epic
have-
Pass.
it's
Okay.
you know already. And they have
Yeah.
told people they're not giving them their money back.
Of
Even though
course
they
they're
can't get to the ski resort.
No, there's no chance in the world that corporation was ever going to give a penny back.
People are
I mean-
so mad.
Josh, I'm a firm believer that Epic is absolutely ruining the ski industry across the country.
Well, I think you know more about it than I do because I really wasn't familiar with them until last year. We took my kid to this ski resort a few times, and that was where I became a little more familiar with Vail Resorts or whatever it's called and Epic. And what do you know?
I mean, they're just antithetical to like everything that skiing is. Like
Okay.
skiing should be approachable and easy for everybody and encouraging young people to try it out.
Right.
And Epic buys all these resorts, including ones by me. They
Okay.
buy all these resorts across the country. And what do? They jack the daily lift ticket prices to
Okay,
like
gotcha.
$150 a
Right,
day
right.
for these places. And it just makes it so the only way you can ever become a skier is if you're rich. And I
That's too
hate
bad.
that.
Yeah, I didn't
It
know enough
overcrowds
about
the
them. Yeah.
mountains. It's just Epic is, they are just the death knell overall to skiing, it feels like at this point. But, Josh, I really do want to get out there. I assume that's where you have your annual pass, correct?
Not usually, actually.
Oh,
we have a mountain range, Snoqualmie, that's actually closer to us that has skiing. It's not as good. That's where I
Yeah.
learned to ski as a kid. It's not as good as the Stevens Pass, which is where the Epic one is, where Vail is. But that's just further. But we can get to Snoqualmie in like 50 minutes, 45 minutes for pretty decent skiing. So that's where we have in the past had our annual passes.
Now, what kind of elevation is that resort at?
Snoqualmie's about 2,500, 3,000, somewhere
so
in there.
it's really low. Okay,
Yeah. And I don't know about the other one's higher. The Stevens Pass, where the Vail one
gotcha.
is higher, but I don't know what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if somehow I managed to lose FCV, which is almost impossible at this point, and I end up out there, I would do it during ski season so we could go check out your local hill/mountain, depending on how big it is. But it doesn't sound like that's going to be the case. You can come to Perfect North with me.
Well, I probably will be heading there with the.
We'll just have
This
to get
is
you
a-
pretty quick. It doesn't last after March, Josh. I mean, we got like a 6-week ski season here.
Well, you were speaking of you were like 73 the other day, and then you dropped to what 25 or something.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. It was 75 on Saturday, sunny, beautiful, people running around in skimpy clothing. And you wake up Monday morning and it's 20 degrees, a feels like temperature of 6. It's snowing, 30-mile-an-hour winds. It's just, gosh, that's just part of living, in Louisville. You get all 4 seasons in 1 week sometimes.
And we don't see, that's the one thing about the whole Pacific Northwest. We don't get that. I've sent you, screenshots of our temperature, and it's a 10-degree spread for an entire week.
Oh yeah, no, we get mass fluctuations. But Josh, I think the important thing is, for the first time in what feels like it's probably been about a year, I think it's actually only been about 8 weeks, 6 weeks. I'm going to the casino tonight.
You're going to Vegas? We're a
No.
Vegas show, you know.
I'm going to the local casino tonight because I haven't been able to get out to Vegas. I finally had an evening free, not really free because it's literally 5:15 right now and we're recording. So after we get done, I'm going to make the hour drive up to the casino. I'm going to play there tonight. I'm going to stay there, come back tomorrow morning. It's going to be amazing. I don't even think they're going to have a traditional craps table open. I think it's just going to be crapless because it's a midweek. Maybe because of New Year's coming up. Maybe they're a little overstaffed more than usual.
Right.
But I have low expectations, but I'm really excited to get back.
I have high hopes. Maybe low expectations, but high hopes.
Okay, well, good. Let's
Yeah.
hope that carries me through the evening, but I'm very excited.
If the craps table is not open, will you play slots or will you play video poker?
Oh, there'll be a table open. I think it's just going to be crapless.
All
I mean,
right.
it might be half a table. You know, my
Right.
property
It
sometimes
might be
it's half
your,
a table.
you have a wall there, right?
Yeah, you get that. But no, I mean, I'll play some crapless as long as the table's not full. But if it's not, I'm going to play some Ultimate X video poker, Josh.
Nice. Well, I hope you hit the Royal.
I have there. Actually, you know, the last time I was there, I hit that Royal on that.
That's right. Yeah.
That lucky draw game or whatever, you know, that you
Dream
pay the
card?
extra
Is
5
that the one?
credits. No, it's not
No.
Dream Card. It's something like, I can't remember what it's
I don't
called.
remember
But
what
I did
it
hit a
is, but yeah.
$4,000 Royal last time I was
remember
there.
that,
Maybe it'll
yeah.
happen again.
That's right.
Okay, Josh. Well, with that said, let's tell people how to get a hold of us. You can send us an email. That's podcast@crapvegas.com. You can join us over in our Facebook group. That's crapvegas.com/Facebook. You can see us over on Twitter if you'd like to, although I'm barely ever on there. And Josh, I made my first tweet in like 6 months yesterday and it got like 2 impressions. So I think I've officially been shadow banned by Twitter for not being active.
I think you are too. And we're going to say it's X.
Okay, it is X. That is true. But he's at Vegas Duffy. I'm at Small Whale 13, or the show page is at Crap Vegas. Or we'd love to have you join us over on Patreon. That's patreon.com/crapvegas. There's a trial. There's all sorts of good stuff this time of year. We just wrapped up our final best of 2025 episode that will come out, I think, next week, if I remember correctly, Josh.
I think that's right, yeah.
Yeah, it's the best time of year.
Yeah. So we appreciate all our patrons. So thank you so much.
Previous episode feedback, Josh. We got an email from Robin over at Anytime Gambling. Robin said, "Hi, guys. This is Robin Aubin, former owner of Anytime Gambling, Josh. After
Ooh.
13 years, he's put it to bed for good."
Oh,
I know, it's kind of sad, isn't it?
does that mean he sold it to somebody?
I don't think so. I think he just retired from that
Well,
activity.
his former
I mean,
owner.
well, I mean, I'd refer to myself as a former owner if I retired and let my business close. But
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Well,
okay.
Congratulations in retirement, Robin.
Yeah, congratulations, Robin. He says a few things. You have mentioned Wynn as having the best hospitality in Vegas. I totally agree. And to Wynn Corp, hospitality is number one. Even here in New England, Encore Boston Harbor has the best hospitality and classiest atmosphere, even though Foxwood and Mohegan Sun are better casino resorts. If you ever come east to visit, let me know. I'm retired.
Well, thanks, Robin. Again, congratulations. I would like to come east. This year, Atlantic City is maybe where I'm targeting, although Chris is trying to, almost insisting that I go to Kentuckiana. But I love the New England area. And so if I could get up there and play, whether it's Foxwoods or Encore, Boston Harbor, anything like that, I'd love to do it.
Yeah, Robin continues. The loftiest comp for him, Josh, something we talked about on a previous episode, and that I would never get as a mid-roller would be that suite with a piano I heard you mention. As a pianist of over 50 years, it would be
Ooh.
so cool to take a break from the casino only to go upstairs and relax playing some jazz music.
Oh, that would be cool, Robin. I did the one finger piano for Chris. That was as good as I got. He's better than I am. It doesn't sound like as good as you are, though.
No, I'm nowhere near Robin. And he said, I don't get to Vegas much anymore. It's just too long of an airplane ride for this OG, which I completely understand. He said, my criteria now revolves around the Sphere. He says, number one, is there an experience that he doesn't want to miss there? And then number two, he starts to search for flights and hotel arrangements. The Sphere is the greatest thing to hit Vegas since ever. Love the show. It's nice to hear how the rich and famous do Vegas.
Well, thanks. I think the Wizard of Oz show is pretty darn cool.
Yeah.
Seeing the Wizard of Oz at the Sphere. I mean, I haven't seen a concert there yet. The only thing I've seen is the Wizard of Oz. I think if you go to one of the concerts that are really designed to incorporate the Sphere, they have the big residencies, whether it's the Eagles or Backstreet Boys or whoever, that probably use the space better. I think that would be something I would do over the one weekend acts, like the Zac Brown Band, I think was there during the rodeo for a weekend. I can't imagine they took full use of the Sphere the way, Kenny Chesney did or that kind of thing.
Yeah,
But the
I'm
Wizard
with
of
you there.
Oz is, the Wizard of Oz is wonderful to see there and a great use of the space.
I think you're right. I think those production shows where they had plenty of time to get all the screens
Right.
doing crazy stuff. Yeah, I think that would be a heck of a lot more fun, Josh. I was just imagining, my God, if you got high and went and saw fish there, boy, that would be an experience.
I'm sure somebody has done that.
I'm going to say more than one person
Yeah,
has, Josh.
I think it's
Just
probably
maybe.
happened. Yeah.
We got an email from Scott. Scott said, "Hey guys, I was in Vegas last week for a work conference and stayed at Fontainebleau. Like Chris, I was up extremely early on Wednesday morning because of the time change. I decided to grab a coffee and go for a walk down to Wynn. Playing craps at Wynn is usually out of my price range, but I wanted to see if the crew you talk so highly of was working a table. I saw an empty $15 table, and as I walked by, I noticed the name tag on one of the dealers. Sure enough, it was Rick.
Oh,
I thought to myself that this might be the only chance I have to play with this crew because I've never seen minimums that low at Wynn, even on weekday mornings. I bought in next to Rick and mentioned how much I'd heard about him on your guys' show. He absolutely loved hearing that. He was as friendly as ever and quickly picked up how I like to play. After just a few rolls, I didn't even need to tell him where to place the chips I threw out. He already knew. I played alone for probably 20 minutes and went up and down and finished even on the short session. I just wanted to let your audience know that even if you're a low roller like myself, you can still experience the great service and friendly dealers at Wynn. Love the show. Keep up the great work, Scott." Josh, can Rick's head probably be any bigger than what it is right now listening to this episode?
I doubt it, but I'm glad, Scott, that you had such a great experience. Rick is usually pretty nasty to people.
Oh, he's a jackass. Yeah.
So yeah, if he was nice
are
to you,
lucky.
you must have caught him on a really good day. But
Yeah,
no,
no.
seriously, the one of the best things about the dealers that Win, Rick, Jay, everybody, and other properties too that are good craps dealers. One of the things I miss most about not playing craps as much is that interaction and getting to know the dealers. And if you have good dealers that remember your bets and that kind of stuff, it makes it so much more fun. I mean, so many times lately when I've played, it's been whether it's M or, just kind of the random places I've been, the dealers really haven't, I haven't had that relationship where they've begun to memorize my bets and that kind of thing. Even in just like a session, that doesn't seem to happen as regularly.
Yeah, no, I get you, Josh. They really have amazing crews there. Shout out to everybody over at Wynn. We're not forgetting people like Liz and Jay and everybody else too, but
Right.
all terrific. That morning crew still
yeah.
to this day is my favorite set of casino dealers I've ever had in my life.
Yep. You could go there tonight, but no, you're making a
I
difference.
could. I mean, I'd have to be back pretty early tomorrow, so that would be
Right.
rough. But
It'd be hard.
I don't know, maybe in a couple weeks. We'll talk about that soon. Finally, we got an email from Richard. Richard said the category for today's final is video poker, Josh. And the answer is these two consecutive sounds are, quote, music to the ears of any Ultimate X player. Do you have an answer?
Richard, what is the hand pay sound and what is the dealt full house sound?
No, Josh, I'm sorry. That's incorrect. You're going to lose all the points that you bet. The actual answer was the gong, indicating you have at least one big multiplier and hopefully many more, followed by the bloop sound, indicating a made hand.
Okay, well, I think I was close with the dealt full house.
I mean, you're close, but not perfect.
No,
Sorry,
no,
we can't
all
take
right.
that. Alex Trebek, he was a jerk too, Josh. He wouldn't give you credit for that.
That's right. We like, what's his name? Ken Jennings.
Ken Jennings, that who's hosting it now permanently?
I met him once.
Did you?
Yeah, he was hosting my wife. This is like years ago. It was after he was on the show, but when, as a contestant. And she was at some corporate thing where they had a celebrity come in and, pump everybody up and whatnot. And,
Like a
and
Tony
he
Robbins
was,
thing?
Well, no, it wasn't that. It was, where it might have been a charity thing where they bring in a guest to get you to donate, or I don't remember what it was.
I
But
gotcha.
he was the celebrity that was there, and he was giving away signed copies of. He had a board game, the Ken Jennings trivia game, or something like
Oh,
that.
nice.
He was a nice guy. That's about all I remember. But anyway,
Okay, fair
that's
enough.
my Jeopardy trivia.
Perfect. Well, Josh, that's going to wrap up our listener feedback this week, so let's keep it moving. Okay, as you indicated at the beginning of the episode, Josh, 2026 is upon us. When this episode comes out, it's already here. So we thought, like every other podcast in America, show, TV show, radio station, we got to at least wrap up the year, Josh. Mention some of our biggest wins and losses of the year, favorite part of the year, goals and resolutions for 2026, everything leading into this fine new year.
Now, in my defense, when I came up, I sent Chris like 2 weeks ago, we should do a 2025 year in review show. And then everybody else does a 2025 year in review show and beats us.
Yeah, that
And
is true. We need
I
to be
was the
more
one that
proactive in
came
the
up
future.
with the idea, though. They stole it
Nobody
from me.
had ever thought of it before until
No.
Josh got it in his mind.
Exactly.
And we just didn't act fast enough. That happens.
We didn't. So anyway, this is our version of a 2025 year in review. And as you said, 2026, what do we expect?
Okay, Josh, to start it off, a question I know that you're going to have a much better answer than mine. How many trips did you take in 2025?
Well, because I created this topic,
Uh-huh.
I thought this might come up. So I went back
You
through.
didn't send me the questions in advance.
No, I
so-
didn't.
Hey, look
But
at
I
us on the
kind
same
of
page.
thought this was one that might come up. So I went back and, now that the easiest way to do it is to look at my pictures on my phone
Yep.
and see when
I
I
do the
was
same
there.
thing.
So I retraced my steps. I took 8 trips to Vegas in 2025.
Wow. Josh, I'm so jealous of you. I looked back this year,
I'm putting
2025.
I'm putting the over under at 2. Well, I'll say 2.5, and I'm taking the under.
It was 3.
Okay.
And Josh, I'll tell you, I looked back. This is the least Vegas trips I've taken in a year in 17 years.
Holy cow. I don't even
I
know
know.
how you have a show.
I was 24 years old the last time I took less trips than this. It's been a while. It's just a crazy year. I hate that that's the way that it played out. I've lost my status with pretty much everybody at this point,
You
so I'll have to
sure have.
rebuild it. But the important thing is though, Josh, if you remember correctly, my first trip of the year, I earned diamond or like 100 points short of diamond at Venetian Palazzo in one trip, in one
That's
day,
right.
actually. So I do have Venetian Palazzo status going into next year, but I have lost Win Black status. I didn't go to MGM at all this year.
Whew.
Yeah, just a weird year for me.
Whereas I didn't even bother to count my days, but I took 8 trips, and I'm pretty sure there wasn't one that was less than 3 nights, and some were 4 or 5.
Most were 5.
even
Yeah,
6
so you
nights.
probably
Yeah.
spent a solid, I'd say 35 to 40 nights.
Whew. Well, it's
That's a
no
lot.
wonder my P&L looks bad.
Yeah, that would impact it pretty heavily. Josh, what would you say was the best experience you had of the year in Vegas?
Oh, that's a tough one. The best experience I had.
That's why people say I'm the best host.
It is. You asked the
That's
best questions.
The tough questions, the really
The-
hard-hitting
the,
ones.
The
Yeah.
hard-hitting ones, yeah. Well, a couple. I don't have a best.
Okay.
Let's kind of filter it a little bit. My best gambling experience was probably getting my very first Royal.
Okay.
Which was the one at Wynn. You guys will remember it if you were listening to the show.
I was there.
It
We were
was-
together that
You were
trip.
there, yeah. In fact, you hit your Royal just a little bit before I did,
Shortly
but then
before
I
you
doubled
did,
it,
yeah.
I think, or something like that.
Yeah, no, I remember that day. It was really crazy that neither of us had ever hit one. We hit it on the same damn day.
Yeah. And so that was, I was playing Ultimate X, but instead of $1, I was playing $2 a spin Ultimate X 3 line. So $60 a spin. And I hit it for at 2 times multiplier. It ended up 16,000. And that was particularly an awesome gambling memory. Restaurant wise, Pisces, I think was
Yeah,
my
you
favorite
had
restaurant.
A lot of
Yeah.
glowing, nice things to say about that experience.
I went back and thought about the different restaurant experiences, and that was my best restaurant experience. Best hotel experience? It might have been, and I was going to talk about it in a little bit, but this is the year that I first stayed. I went back and looked. In January of 2025 was my first stay at Cosmo.
Okay.
And so I had been looking for a long time to check Cosmo off my list, and now I've kind of really fallen in love with Cosmo.
Yeah. No, I mean, I
So
went
those
through
are
that
some-
same period myself a few years back. So
Yeah, those are some highlights for me. How about you?
I didn't think about breaking it down like that into different categories. I like that though, Josh. I mean, I will say hotel wise, having a Wynn parlor suite, finally getting a
Oh,
suite there
yeah.
after all the times we've gone. That was really exciting. I didn't have to ask for it. He just prompted me if I would
That's
like
true,
it,
yeah.
which was really nice because our host there typically doesn't do anything more than absolutely necessary. So that was a really nice experience. Yeah, Royal Flush right up there. I had 2 of them this year. Maybe I'll have a third tonight to cap off the year, but
That would be awesome.
I've had 2 this year. And yeah, my first one, Josh, if you remember, it was an $8,000 Royal Flush. I was playing Super Times Pay.
Super Times Pay, yeah.
It was only $1, but I had a 2X and got a Royal. So that was pretty amazing. But yeah, I don't know, Josh, that was really cool. Gambling wise, let's go to this question. What would you say was your biggest win of the year? Your biggest hit?
I think it was that one. I think it
Was
was
it?
that Royal Flush. I don't think I'm pretty sure I didn't have anything else bigger than that in a single hit. I had a couple 10,000 slot machine hits.
Mhm.
You and I mean, I didn't play a lot of craps, so I don't have any, but I don't think we had
Mhm.
one of our big epic sessions this year.
We didn't together, but I
I'm
will
pretty sure
say
I didn't without you.
My actual biggest win of the year, looking back through my phone and notes and text messages and photos, by far my biggest win of the year was when I was at Wynn by myself. That trip that you and I went separate but together. We were in Vegas at the same time. You were at Venetian Palazzo. I was at Wynn.
You came to visit me.
I did walk over to the
That
VP
was the
bar over
royal.
there.
That was the royal trip.
Yes, it was. That trip, Josh, was actually a winning trip for me, if I remember correctly. And the big reason why it was is I had a crap session there when I was playing solo, where I got down. I went from like a $5,000 buy-in down to maybe $1,500 left. And I just had a monster roll that I was shooting. There was only one other person at the table, if I remember correctly. And I went from $1,500 to about $18,500 by the time I cashed out.
Which is amazing. And I vaguely remember being, somewhat jealous of that because you hit that, you hit the royal, and I think I was probably losing pretty heavily.
At that time, I think
crap.
you were, and you're like, why did I go to Venetian Palazzo?
That's right.
I think that was by far my biggest win. How about biggest loss of the year, Josh? Anything that jumps out at you?
Well, the biggest loss of the year was when I had that in August, those 2 trips. It was the end of July, the beginning of August, the 2 trips where I was in Vegas for 9 nights over 12 days.
Oh, yeah.
And I
That's
had
hard.
that last stint at Aria, and I got just slaughtered. It was,
Yeah.
and I don't want to talk specific numbers. I know some people ask how much, our ultimate wins and losses and that kind of thing. I'm just not comfortable talking about that. But what I will say, over that period of time at Aria, I had 400,000 of coin in.
Yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
you could extrapolate a little bit from there. It was not a good trip.
I completely understand, Josh. I think my last trip out there staying at Venetian Palazzo was the one that hit me the hardest. We had no luck that trip. We weren't hitting anything on VP. We weren't getting any slot jackpots. The tables were cold. And I know I blew through my line of credit very quickly and a little bit more on top of that. So that was not a great experience. But, that happens from time to time. For all the big wins, there's losses that are bigger.
Absolutely. One thing I didn't note down, Chris, in my 2025 year interview, I did not take note of how many TTOs I had.
Oh, well, I think it was at least 15 or 20. I mean,
It's probably for the best.
you took 2 like an hour apart.
I did.
So-
I took one right before I got that royal flush.
Yeah, no, I remember. So no, it was, I'm sure that was a big number. But I'll tell you, Josh, I think my biggest takeaway from the whole year, like looking back and reflecting upon the year, the thing that I don't like the least about it or that I regret the most about it is it feels like you and I just didn't have one of our normal trips, gambling, a dinner, a show, but without other stuff going on.
We really didn't.
And I I hate that because honestly, it's the most fun I have in Vegas. It's not at the tables. It's not at the VP.
It's just us doing our thing.
It's just when we're doing our kind of thing. And we usually, we're pretty laid back and casual. And I felt like this year we always had, especially you, because you're so much more social than I will ever be. But I feel like we always had something else where there was another dinner scheduled or another thing you had to go to. And so I kind of hate that, you get a lot more trips so you can kind of spread it out. But
Right.
I just didn't get that experience this year. And I hate that.
Yeah, I agree. And we didn't. And so let's make that one of our 2026 goals is we have a
it is.
Chris
It's on my
Josh
list.
trip. Okay, good. It's not on my list, but I'm adding it to mine.
I don't really want to do that, but if you want to, I will
Exactly.
accommodate.
Exactly.
Let's talk about 2026, Josh. What kind of goals and resolutions do you have for the new year?
Well, that's an interesting question. I think for me, my goal is to lose less money in 2026 than I did
usually
in
a safe goal.
2025.
Yeah.
And kind of going along with that, it's to play if I'm gonna play Ultimate X as my main game, which I really enjoy that. And one of the things I was going to mention in 2025 was this is when I started, I think it was in April of 2025, when I converted from double-double 3-line regular, double-double to Ultimate X, Jack,
Mhm.
boring Jack's fault. But I really enjoy that. So I don't want to stop doing that, but I do want to be much more responsible about playing some 50 cents instead of dollars on my double-double Ultimate X. That's a goal, and I don't want to do it all the time. I still like playing dollars, but when I was playing that at M, when I was playing some of that at Cosmo, that's a very comfortable level for me. So I haven't decided yet if I want to start lower and go higher if it's going well, or if I want to start higher and go lower if it's going poorly. But
Sure.
I want to mix in some 50 cents on my Ultimate
gotcha.
X. That's a gambling goal.
For a gambling goal, Josh, I'm along the same lines as you. I'm not going to be successful at this, but that's why we set goals so that we can not achieve them.
You're supposed to not achieve your goals, right?
I'm hoping at some point this year that I can try to play 270 across
Okay.
again and
Right.
see if I can be okay with
You
that.
can do it.
Well, like I feel like tonight would be a perfect time to do it at my locals place where it doesn't matter as much.
That's true.
But even there, I probably won't. But I do want to try to do a little bit more video poker because there's just nothing else that I really enjoy. Like I don't enjoy playing blackjack nowadays. I find it boring. Slots I like, but the volatility is just so high at the level we typically play
Yeah.
that you can play for 5 minutes, blow through the cash you wanted to blow through and really got nothing out of it, hit nothing. I'd rather do that on something like video poker where I have
Right.
at least a chance to stick around for a while and actually get some fun out of it. So I'm hoping to play more VP and occasionally throw in some 270 across. And maybe if you and I can take that Chris and Josh trip we were talking about, maybe one night is a low rolling day at, Planet Hollywood or something.
Yeah. Or a locals place, go out to Red
Yeah.
Rock or Durango or
Sure.
just
Let's
throwing
see if
out
maybe
ideas.
we can make that happen one evening.
Could we maybe trade a Chris Josh trip for my trip to Kentuckiana?
Maybe.
Maybe?
Maybe.
Okay.
We'll see.
Mark that down.
Okay, well, we'll see if that's a potential option. Josh, how about number of trips in 2026? What's your goal?
Ooh, goal for number of trips. I like the number 8. 8's a good number.
It is until you can't. Oh, wait, I'll just leave it alone.
I don't have any desire to go less. I don't really want to go more. 8 is
Okay.
a lot. Like
That's a lot, Josh.
that
It really
number
is, especially
between
'cause
6
you
and
take
8 that we
4 night
don't
trips at a
say.
minimum.
Right. That's a
that's-
lot.
I mean, I can't imagine spending more than an actual month of my year in Vegas.
I can imagine it.
I can't.
I've lived
It's
it.
too much. I love
No,
Vegas. It's too much.
I mean, I was thinking about, I was originally going to go, my first trip of 2026 was going to be March Madness.
Yep.
And I thought, that's too far. I can't go over 3 months before I go, because this would have been from Zorkfest to March Madness. It's like, I can't go over 3 months without going to Vegas. So I've got another trip in February, which has turned into, it was going to be like a weekend, and now it's turned into my usual 4-night trip. So now I've got a February and I've got a March. So I'm going to shoot for, maybe a July. Then there'll be the Star Trek convention.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I mean, maybe 7, maybe
Okay.
cut out 1.
My goal is 4, is what I'm hoping for.
Okay.
I think most people know I just started a new business on the side, so that's eating into a lot of my time and resources as well. Obviously,
Yeah,
there's a lot of cash associated with a new business, especially retail. But I'm hoping that once a quarter I can get out there and find a weekend just to do my thing, and I
Right.
hope that at least 2 of my 4 trips will overlap with yours. I know we don't always have the same dates available, and so
Yeah,
hopefully
I'm
we
sure
can
we can do a couple.
make that work. I also set a goal, Josh. I'm hoping maybe on that trip that we take, we can see a new show this year, something we haven't seen before.
That's one of my goals too. And I'd like it. I mean, it depends on who's there and all that kind of stuff. But I think it would be fun, speaking of going back to whose ever question that was, but going back to, I think it was Robin's, going back to Robin's question, if we could see one of those big acts at the Sphere, that might be a
That
lot
would be
of
fun. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
we can make that happen. And Josh, one other thing, and you kind of alluded to this earlier, even mentioned it flat out. I would love if one of my 4 trips this year could be to a new location. And that doesn't necessarily mean outside of Vegas. It could be in Vegas, but just a new place I haven't been before and stayed at, or in a new state that I haven't gone to.
I like it. One of my goals, and I really do want to make this happen this year, is to stay at least one night, and maybe it's a whole trip, maybe it's just one night, at Circa. I
Okay.
want to stay downtown. I've never stayed downtown, and I think I'd like it to be at Circa, just to see, especially with, kind of moving more towards video poker, see what I think of the scene there,
Okay.
that kind
mean,
of thing.
as
I
a-
know it's not for you, but that's okay.
I mean, from a content perspective, Josh, I highly encourage it. It will be
Right,
great.
exactly. It's for the show.
Anything else you want to share about your 2026 resolutions?
Well, 2026 resolutions, we talked about craps a little bit, and I had a good time playing 135 across, 270 across, and I want those to be my default craps
Okay.
opening bets of the, for 2026. I just 530 or 600, whatever it is, 540 or 600 goes too fast for me
It can.
at
Yeah.
the, at what I want to have as a bankroll. It doesn't necessarily, can be also fantastic, but I realized I can have a really nice time at 135 across and be comfortable. I'd kind of rather go 270, 135 is a little limiting for me. I don't like the move from 30 to 42 kind of thing. That's not as
I
much
gotcha.
fun as 60 to 90, that kind of thing. But I want to play some more craps than I did this year, but at a lower level. And I want to, overall, the theme for 2026 for me is go to Vegas as often as I have been. Focus, and everybody says this, and it's hard to do, but focus less on getting as much free play as I do, because if I take my gambling down, free play is going to go down, and I just have to
Sure.
be
Yeah.
okay with that. but I want to focus on playing within my gambling budget a little more.
Well, Josh, I think that's actually one of the reasons, and I didn't talk about it, but I think it's one of the reasons that I'm more inclined to spend my limited few trips at Wynn, because it's a place that I always enjoy. I always feel welcome there. But at the same time, my offers there are meaningless.
Yeah.
I don't, like,
That's
I
a
get the
good
same
point,
thing.
yeah.
Like, even next year when I don't
still get the same thing.
like, without black status, I fully expect to still get transportation. I still expect a tower suite room, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to change. And honestly, I just got a new offer the other day from them for the next year, even though I'm not going to hit the new tier. And, the gift cards and the free play and stuff, it's the same as it's always been. So I feel like it's a place that I can go. I don't have to worry about, how much did I run through a machine? Because at VP, especially, Venetian Palazzo, not Video Poker, at Venetian Palazzo, my offers fluctuate greatly depending on the trip. I mean, it could be a $1,500 difference from one trip to the next, but it's still always a large number. So I'm always in the back of my head thinking I need to play more so I can keep that number high. And even though I'm not really competing with you because you're just there so much longer than I am, I'm also thinking, well, if Josh has this, I should try to get that number too, even though we're just not there the same length. But I'm hoping that for 2026, I can just enjoy it for what it is, the trips that I enjoy taking, not worrying about the offer side of things. Just go, have a good time, see the people I want to see, play as much as I want to play. And if I need to bail out early because I'm getting my ass kicked, then bail out early and it doesn't impact my comps or whatever. So that's my goal for 2026.
And as far as if you go twice this year, or no, you said you want to go 3 times this year.
The goal is to get there once a quarter. It'd be get there 4 times.
Okay, so 4 times.
I have a feeling 3's probably.
I'm not good with quarters.
Yeah, they're tough. They're tough.
It's hard to do. It's hard to do.
Josh is 3 line, 5 line, or 10 line. That's right. There's no 4.
No 4 line. So if you were to do it, would you want? You mentioned staying, off strip or different place once. Would you want the other 3 to be at Wynn?
Yeah, I think so. What I have a feeling is going to happen, though, like logistically, I have a feeling I'm going to at least get 1 Wynn trip, 1 Venetian Palazzo trip.
Right.
And then the last 1 or 2 trips, depending on how many I actually end up taking, that's going to be the weird, like, okay, what does Josh want to do?
Right.
Like, because I've been trying to push you to go to like Planet Hollywood for a long time to take a lower rolling trip, which, and the good news is for Josh, his trips are always 4 to 5 nights anyways. And I'm only there for 2.
Yeah,
so he can always start off at Planet Hollywood the first 2 nights and then move over to Cosmo or Venetian Palazzo or whatever it may be for the last 2. So you can get the best of both worlds.
Absolutely. So I was looking, Chris, as we were talking. So for 2025, I stayed out of my 8 trips, and some of them, as you mentioned, I broke up into multiple places.
Yeah, multiple places.
So I stayed at Venetian Palazzo 6 times.
Okay.
In my 2025 Vegas, I stayed at Cosmo 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed at Aria once, and I stayed at M once.
Okay.
Oh, and I stayed at Wynn once.
I say you. So you kind of stayed at Wynn once.
No, I did stay at Wynn.
I feel like you had 2 rooms that trip.
I don't think so. This is when I was this wasn't. I don't think you were at this one. This was when I was with we did the Pisces trip in Wingley, and I don't think you were at that one.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't there for that one.
Yeah.
So,
okay, that was legitimately, and that was the only time I stayed at Wynn. I would never double book Wynn.
Oh God, no. Never. Okay, Josh. Anything else before we move on?
No, I think that's a good kind of wrap up of 2025. And of course, I had my F1 experience.
Yeah.
I had my first trip to Cosmo as I was kind of looking through my pictures, reminded me that was the one where I had the power outage during my massage.
Oh, that's right. You had to walk down the stairs and you ended up in places you shouldn't have ended up in.
And yet I like Cosmo and I came back. And this was where I had the year start out with me being infatuated. In fact, you too, us being infatuated with that NFL football slot.
Yes, because I won so much money on my VP trip.
That's right. That's how you got your status in one day.
It is. And then it just burnt the hell out of me the next
That's right.
trip.
Chris had a huge, he was way up and he proceeded to blow it all.
Yeah. I was up a large 5-figure number, gave it all right back just before I left.
Oh, yeah. And then I had some other highlights from 2025. I had the gondola ride with Richard, Boondocks.
I remember, yeah.
That was one of the highlights. And then, of course, over the course of the year, 4 royal flushes for me.
It's crazy.
Over 2025,
really yeah, take that, Mark Duvall.
What's my over-under for 2026?
Josh, I mean, I feel like the law of large numbers is going to kick in. You're going to revert to the mean. So what the over-under is for the year, what it should be is I'm going to say
2.
I'm going to set it at 1.5 for 2026.
1.5? Oh, I'm taking the over. Easy.
Okay.
I'm going to switch to 5 line if I need to.
Josh is going to play 100
Not
line
four
penny
line.
and count
We
it.
talked about that, right?
There is no 4.
Exactly. Anyway, I think those are some highlights going back to 2025 for me. Really excited for 2026. I hope I can be a little bit more responsible in my gambling, but still staying at different places and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, you're in your 60s now, Josh. You got to kind of tone it back a little bit.
Not there yet.
Okay, Josh, after the break, we're going to answer some listener questions, spin the wheel, and more. So stick around. Listener questions. We got an email from Nancy. Nancy said, Chris and Josh, I found your podcast about a month ago and have really enjoyed it. I love your banter back and forth, and it's nice to hear two people chat when it doesn't feel overly scripted. My question, what is the biggest change you think you have had in your gambling habits since you were younger? Increased play level, different games, different expectations. It's always fun to hear how people evolve over time. Keep up the great work, Nancy.
Well, thanks, Nancy. And yeah, most of what we say is pretty unscripted. We'll go with that.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely don't type everything out. We know we have your questions and stuff and your listener feedback.
But even I don't look at those. I used to early on in the show.
But other than that, no, it's just Josh and I kind of sitting here gabbing back and forth and then trying to figure out what the hell to say.
But what's changed for me, and I think this is probably true, it's all of the above, Nancy. It's all of the things you mentioned. I mean, when I was a brand new gambler, it was largely craps. I think I dabbled in blackjack and most of the stuff that new people, but I became more serious when I started playing craps. But even then, it was a $200 bankroll or that kind of thing. So much lower, playing as cheap a game as I could find and going home if I lost $200. And it was the cheapest rooms I could find. I mean, I've told the stories about Vegas. I don't need to go over those, but when I could find $25 rooms with no resort fees, and that was a huge thing. And I think with all of us, as our income rises, our desire, and we get older, our desire to stay at nicer places comes in, and our ability to gamble at higher levels. Game-wise, I play a lot less blackjack than I did when I was a brand new gambler. I think most gamblers kind of start with blackjack, or that's in there somewhere. I hardly play that ever anymore. I don't play much Pai Gow anymore. I played that a little bit. Obviously, I don't play quite as much craps as I used to. That's just more a changing of kind of habits, I think, than anything else. But that's it. You pretty much know where my gambling is now. What about you, Chris? How have you changed? Kind of the same ways?
Yeah, I think the same way, Josh. We have more money, so we play higher denomination than we used to. I definitely obviously play a lot more craps than when I was younger. It was almost all blackjack back then. A little bit of roulette just to break things up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I can't remember the last time I played a blackjack hand, honestly.
I don't think I played roulette this year.
Wow. I mean, it's probably been 10 years since I've played at least.
I usually find a way to play it once a year. So just as you said that, I was like, I don't think I played this year.
Yeah, I don't know, Josh. I'm like you. I try to stay in slightly nicer places than I used to, but overall, I kind of have the same expectations in Vegas as when I used to go a long time ago. I go in thinking I'm going to win, always coming home a loser for the most part, but as long as I have a good time and I get out when I think is the right time, that's all that matters.
I never go in thinking I'm going to win.
I try to believe it. It's hard sometimes to get to that point, but I always hope that I come home a winner.
Well, it's a worthy goal.
Okay. We got an email from Larry M. Larry said, craps question for the brothers. If Josh remembers how to play, he says. I'm fairly new to craps, having only played a couple of times. I was at my local property this past weekend and had a situation pop up that I'm hoping you can help me understand if it was handled properly or not. We were in the middle of a really good roll, and the shooter was only a 2 and a 6 away from making them all. The dice come out, the shooter throws, and one of the dice got trapped between a player's pass line bet and their odds. That happens a lot, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they always tell you to push your odds bet.
Yeah, and some dealers like Rick and Jay,
they will fix it
spread them out
you.
a little, right?
Yeah. The stickman called 7 out very quickly, but a lot of the players, especially those on that side of the table, thought it should have been called a 6. How are these situations handled, and why are the stickmen in such a hurry to make a call and move on? By the time the box could look over, the dice had already been grabbed and he couldn't see anything. Could they have consulted the camera? Thanks for your insights on this, Larry.
Larry, good questions. And as Chris said, that is something that happens an awful lot. The die getting stuck between those two bets. You'll see them other places, but that's one that we see. And the rule is, you might know this already, but the rule is if you remove the impediment, whatever the die is leaning on, whichever way it falls would be the roll, would be the correct number in most cases. So if you remove the stack of chips that it's leaning on, whichever way it would fall would be the number that is, or if it's leaning against a wall, that kind of thing. It does seem like that happens. Like if the
Mhm.
dealers are going to call it a 7, they do it really fast. Like
Always.
it happens
Yeah.
really fast.
Feels like it.
And does that mean it's not legitimate? It's hard to say. I think it's probably because they know it's that number. Like they're not trying to be deceitful or anything. I think that's the way they see it. They're calling it, but they just want to get it over with before arguments happen and that kind of stuff. They know that if it's open for debate, players are going to get grumpy and yell and all that kind of stuff. So I think they call it and they try and move on.
Yeah, I think you're right, Josh. I think they know what the call is. They, in their mind, at least, they know what the correct call is. And letting it sit there and think about it and creating delay, all that's going to do is make the situation worse. Because you're going to end up at the same ultimate point. They're going to call 7 out.
Right.
But at the same time, if everybody has a chance to look at it and try to figure out, well, maybe if I move this, it would fall this way. I mean, it's very, very rare. I've had it happen maybe 2 or 3 times where I think the die was truly trapped between 2 items, and depending on which item you removed is the way that it would have fallen.
Fall the other direction, right?
That's very rare. Typically, it's you move a chip, it falls this way. If the wall disappeared, it would fall down whatever way it's leaning against the wall. Usually that stuff's pretty obvious. It can happen that it can get stuck where it could go one way or the other.
Right.
I feel like boxes typically err on the side of 7 out. It just feels that way. Whether it's true or not, it sure feels that way to me. That's what I remember at least. But yeah, I think they must be taught. I was never trained as a craps dealer, but I think that they're taught that quickly on any 7 out in your mind, call it, get the dice, and get them back to the center and move on.
Now, if there was some big brouhaha where there was a mistake, or they just made the wrong call or something like that, yes, theoretically, the box could call and get security to look at it, and then maybe they'd reverse it. I don't think I've heard of that happening, though.
I've had it happen one time.
Okay.
One time where the dice landed right in front of me. It was coming my direction, Josh. It was absolutely 100% without a doubt, unequivocally a 9. And the dealer called 7 out. It was 5-4. I don't know what else you possibly could have seen.
Just saw something else.
It was 5-4. And the dealer called 7 out, line away, grabbed the dice and whipped him back. I was the only person on that side of the table. There were 2 people on the other side of the table that probably couldn't have seen it from there. I mean, they could, but it's tougher and they might just think, okay. And this was where was this? This was at my local Caesars property. This was probably 4 or 5 years ago. And I immediately said, hold on, that was clearly a 9. And the stick man goes, no, it was a 7. He goes, what are you talking about? I said, it was 5-4. I'm not blind.
Wow, yeah.
It was a 9. I guarantee it. I said, I will give you every chip in my rack as a toke if you will check the cameras, but it was not a 7. And he kind of looked at me like, this guy's an idiot.
Right.
You know what? Josh, the box said, look, he called it a 7. I'm going to assume he's right. I'll have somebody check the tape or something, but he pretty much said, let's move on.
Right.
And I said, fine. Of course, I'm the biggest player at the table, so it impacts me more than others. Now, I'll tell you what, Josh, probably an hour later, at least an hour later, I was actually not at the table anymore. I was off getting lunch in their little food court area.
Right.
That same box came up and found me sitting in the food court. And he goes, Chris, I want to apologize. We checked the tape. It was a 9. I'm not sure what he saw, but they ended up giving me back every dollar I had in play on the table.
That's really awesome. That's
granted,
the way
they didn't give me. Now they didn't pay out what it would have been if the 9 hit.
Yeah,
they didn't pay the line or anything, but they did give me back every dollar that I had in play. So it was over $1,000. It wasn't a small number.
And I'm glad they went. Even though it took a while and stuff, I'm glad they went and checked and verified that. That's a great story.
But honestly, that is the only time I've ever actually had that happen to me. It worked out well for me at the end of the day, and not as well as if the roll would have continued probably. But that being said, Josh, the next roll could have easily just been a 7 as well. So who knows?
Now, one of the missed things that happens more frequently to us, kind of off topic, but are missed all tall, small numbers.
Yes,
those seem to happen often. And I have seen them go to the cameras. Usually they can kind of recreate it and do it without going to the cameras. But I have seen them go to the cameras to, if the players are insistent that a 12 came up or something like that. I've seen them go back and look at that every once in a while.
How many times, Josh, has the point not been marked?
Oh, yeah. You see that.
Literally,
You see,
we're
right.
2 numbers away from hitting the all. It's like a 6 and an 11. And we're trying to get that 11. And we realize 6 is the point. We had to have hit it. That does happen a lot. But yeah, missed all tall, small numbers. You got to pay attention to it because especially if they don't have a dedicated box, which is very common nowadays, it gets missed all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, when I was at Zorkfest, I have a memory. I could be wrong on this, but I have a memory of playing with James from Handy the Shandy playing, and they missed a number, and James called it out as, we had rolled a 5 or whatever it was kind of thing, and they fixed it. One of the nice things about being a cross player for you and me that presses our bets is oftentimes we can say, we pressed that, so it must have hit.
It must have hit. Yeah, no,
Right.
it's an easy way. Like if my 4 is at 200 instead of 100, well, yeah, it had to hit.
And usually when you have good dealers, they'll say, oh, of course that's right, because that's the only way you press that. So
that's
yeah,
how Chris
exactly.
plays.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I hear you. Okay, final question of the week, Josh. We got an email from Daniel. He said, this question is for Josh. All things being equal in game quality and pay tables. So he's talking about video poker here, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
If you were playing Double Double Bonus Ultimate X, your favorite game,
Right.
would you rather play single line $1, 3 line 50 cent, or 10 line quarter? And why? Happy holidays, Daniel.
3 line 50 cent.
So that would be $25 in play on a 25 cent on that bet. 50 cent, 3 lines. So that's
Oh,
going
you're
to be
saying the dollars, yeah.
$15.
Right.
And single line $1, that's 10. So you're talking 10, 15, or 25.
I like the 3 line. I really like the 3 line. I was very comfortable at 50 senses when I was doing it at Cosmo, when I was doing it at Zorkfest,
Mhm.
at M. I think I like 3 line. 1 line is not enough action for me. Single
Okay.
line is there's just not enough. I want to hit my good stuff more often than that. So 1 line is just not enough for me. 10 line is too much.
Okay.
I don't feel like it's as special when you get the big hands. It's just a little bit overwhelming. I don't really like 5 lines. 3 lines, the way it sits on the screen is also really nice. Just one hand above the other, above the other. I just like the aesthetic of that as I'm playing. 5 gets confusing to me. 10 is just a ton.
Yeah, I think the problem with 10, and you hit it, Josh, is that you have to win such big hands on it.
Right.
And even then, it doesn't feel like much because, like, say you're playing $1 10 line, $1 Ultimate X 10 line. That would be $100 a spin.
Right.
Is how much it would be. Even if you hit a royal without any multipliers,
Mm-hmm.
that's only 40 times your base bet. It's
Which isn't-
not that
yeah,
much.
It's not that much.
I mean, you would have to hit a royal every 40 hands if you didn't have multipliers to stay even.
Right.
It doesn't feel like it's enough. I agree. Playing quarters, $1,000 royal on a $25 bet. It doesn't feel like enough for me. Maybe if I played it more, I would like it. Where I could see myself falling into a middle ground, Josh, is if I was going to play if I was going to play 50 cents, I think I'd rather do 5 line than 3 line.
Okay. Yeah. And I may have done a little bit of that. I just don't like the way 5 lines fall out on the screen as much.
Okay.
I just like the feel of it at the 3 line. I don't know why exactly, but
Okay. Well, that makes sense, Josh. But good question, Daniel. Thank you for
thanks, Daniel.
Patreon. That's patreon.com/crapvegas. What do we have new over there, Josh?
Well, Chris, you kind of mentioned it already. We released part 3 of our 2025 Best of Vegas Awards. We just recorded part 4 of our 2025 Best of Vegas Awards. That'll be dropping next week. Of course, we have our Fading Crap Vegas football prognosticating show where Chris is badly whooping me at the moment,
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
unfortunately. I did want to mention something we don't talk enough about on the Patreon side, Chris. It's ad-free.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So I usually don't mention that. Of course, you at the highest Patreon level, you get the unedited video feed of this here main show, but all of our Patreon content over there is ad-free. So if you don't like the ads, Patreon's the way to go, and we really appreciate the support over there.
Yeah, big thank you to those that signed up over the past couple weeks. That's Ed S., Michael M., Mooney P. with a KCS membership,
Thank you, Mooney P.
and Virginia B. with a KCS membership.
Well, thank you, Virginia B. too.
And Josh, I thought I would point out, we did have some results in our Survivor contest. Sean has finished in 3rd place since he didn't make a pick last time. But Dwayne and Tony are still alive heading into week 18 of the NFL season.
Well, Dwayne, what happens if they get to the playoffs? They still go?
I guess they keep going, Josh. Fuck, I don't know.
I've never made
Do we
it in a
split it at that
Survivor pool
point?
even close to that.
I usually never make it after week 6. I don't know.
And Chris, we should say, since we're talking about Patreon, congratulations to you for
Why?
finishing 3rd place in
Oh,
one
yeah.
of the 3 Crap Vegas Patreon fantasy football leagues.
How many did you finish in the top 3 in, Josh?
None, but I did win one last year, so
Okay, well, you
I
know
have
what?
that over you.
I'm on the board this year. I'm striving for greatness. Next year, I'm shooting for 2nd place.
Right.
I was very proud of myself. I had 4 players in the game last night on Monday Night Football that I needed to perform to get third place and beat out Ace Boone. And they thankfully came through for me. I secured third spot and got my money back in 1 out of 3 leagues. I played for $300 and I won $140. So it's just like playing craps.
There we go. So anyway, congratulations to everybody.
Upcoming trips, Josh, we just talked about it. I'm going to try to get out there sometime in January or February. I don't know which month it's going to end up being. Right now, it's looking like the first or second week of February, if I had to guess. It would be over at Wynn, but sounds like you have a trip lined up as well already.
I'm going for the big game. I'll be there for the big game, yes. And I keep getting big game offers from different places.
You stay in a Venetian Palazzo?
Probably for the big game, although I got a big game email from MGM. That, who knows? I have to look at that. But yes, probably Venetian Palazzo for the big game, and then the big basketball games
that happen to be in March.
That's right. Anyway, those are the 2 February and March trips for me. That's what I've got lined up so far. Probably Venetian Palazzo and probably Cosmo would be my guesses.
Okay. Friendly reminder, subscribe and leave a review on your favorite podcasting app and to visit our merch store over at crapvegas.com/shop. Josh, we made it this far, so it feels like it's time to spin the big wheel.
That's right.
It's time to spin the Crap Vegas big wheel. Are you ready? Josh, spin the wheel.
Oh, Chris, this is one, again, going back to our 2025 year in review. Here's the topic that every other podcast has already talked about, but it came up on the wheel. What's the most common thing that could come up on the wheel? It's the raising of the W2G levels.
Ah, yes.
Tell people about that.
They're raising it up to $2,000. Wow, what an increase after all this time.
I know it should be like when you factor in inflation and things, it should be like 6,000 or something like that. I think I saw, but hey, 2,000 is better than 1,200.
It is, but at the same time, Josh, I'm thinking this is going to have almost zero effect on the number of W2Gs I get near.
Well, I don't know, Chris. I mean, I think it's going to have, it might not have a huge impact on you or people that play at a really high level, but I think there are an awful lot of people that get hand pays that are less than $2,000, but over the 1,200. The lower level people, gambler who hits those. Yeah. I mean, I get a fair number. I mean, how many times do you see one as 1,200 even or 1,300 or
yeah. I've had
there's a lot of those that come.
Yeah. No, it's very frustrating.
Of course, I think about my mind is drawn obviously to just the benefit that we get of not having to deal with all that and things. But to this, the impact of the slot attendance and what's that going to do and that kind of thing. It's a big deal for them, I think.
No, it probably is. Now, Josh, are we still only 90% of your losses?
Yes, that is still in place. But speaking of, I was thinking about my taxes for this coming year. It's not actually for your 2025 tax return that takes
Correct.
effect, right?
Yeah, no,
it's for next year, your 2026 tax return. So your taxes this year are still going to be the same as they always have been.
Correct. Yeah. So
I was in my head thinking I needed to, adjust my thinking this year, but it's not.
Well, at least you got time to prepare for next year, Josh, because, I mean, I know somebody like you probably has well into the 3 figures of W2Gs in a year.
I'm sure it's that at least. Anyway, Chris, that's the only wheel spin. I thought that was a big highlight. One thing that I heard, I was listening to 500 by Midnight. They mentioned Tim had done some sleuthing and found some plans for Venetian and the Sphere to widen or somehow expand the walkway from Venetian to the Sphere. Okay. Because as you know, I think I mentioned when I was there last time, when we saw Wizard of Oz, we had to go outside because there was a convention going on and you couldn't use the interior corridor to get there. So I think they're trying to find a better plan to do that because quite frankly, I'm guessing that the Sphere with Wizard of Oz is getting a lot more traffic than expected during the days and things like that.
It's probably true. Yeah.
So they're working on a workaround.
Well, that's good. Yeah. Cause you don't have to think about conventions in the evenings. They typically aren't going on at that time.
Right.
But yeah, when they started, I mean, cause the postcards from Earth, that was cool, but nobody was rushing over there to see that. But it does feel like the Wizard of Oz has been a mass success for them.
Yeah, I think it really has. Anyway, that's just a little bit non-official wheel spin, just something I wanted to mention that I heard on 500, so that I thought was interesting and wanted to pass that along.
Anything else before we get out of here?
No, I'm excited for all that 2026 has in store. I hope everybody has a good 2026. I hope all your goals come true, especially gambling, Vegas trips, all that stuff.
Absolutely. To you as well, Josh. Everybody enjoy. Good luck to me tonight at the casino, and maybe we'll hear about it on the next episode. But until then, we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Vegas
Thanks for listening to the Crap Vegas podcast.
Have you ever been to Vegas?
Check out all our recent news and our Vegas trip calendar by visiting crapvegas.com.
See you in Vegas.
Now first,
saw
hold
an
on,
empty-
pause. I want to know, is Scott going to slam him, our crew that we speak so kindly of, or is he going to say nice things?
I usually only read the first sentence of an email before I stick it on the episode, so it's going to surprise me here in a second. You ready?
Ready.
Well, Josh, that is a lot about
He doesn't know what he's trying to
what
say.
the hell I was
Rachel.
even trying to say.
He's
there.
in his 60s, too.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Perfect.